I'm Natalie and this is James, and this is our home, Zephyr. We have been sailing around the world for the past 4 years, and now we have got a couple of stowaways on board. Meet Flint and Kira, two puppy Weimaraners that are joining the adventure. Subscribe and welcome to our channel, Sailing Zephyr. On this week's episode, we head down the ICW to North Miami, to a beautiful anchorage in Moore Lake. We make this our base to get the last few jobs done on Zephyr before we leave the US.
Alright, well, we're coming to the end of our big jobs on the boat, but we have one major one left to get finished before we can sail. So as you might remember, back in our videos from way back, our water tank cracked and we had it repaired, and it was repaired really terribly. They didn't do it properly, and so that's what we're going to do. Nat and I are going to fix this water tank properly. So what does that mean? The tank is made out of a special type of plastic, PPE I think, and essentially we need to repair that crack using additional plastic that the tank is made out of. Now I've sought that out. This is the exact material our tank is made out of. And what we are going to do is we're going to use this little tool I bought on Amazon. They're really cheap. I mean, you can spend hundreds of dollars, but I just bought like a $20 one. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to melt a small groove where the crack is. We're going to lay in some more of this additional plastic and then melt that into that crack. We're then going to take this stainless steel wire mesh and we are going to lay that down over it and then melt additional plastic over top of that. And that'll create a nice, solid, secure, I guess, weld, plastic weld, which is what we're doing, where the crack is. Now that's the way it should have been done the first time, and it wasn't. And of course, as soon as we filled it up, it didn't hold. So that's the plan. So we're going to remove the water tank, which is pretty easy, get it out here on the table, and get to work. Now, we've never done this before, so see how we go. Let us know in the comments below if we're doing anything wrong and what we should do better next time if it should happen again. Alright guys, let's get to it.
It can't be any worse than what it is because it's leaking, so. Oh, still a bit of water in there. There's the crack. It's still, I mean, it's just opened right back up.
That's it?
Yeah, completely.
Chance to see.
He just kind of moved it around, moved the plastic around, but it's all
and it's open right back up, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it looks like there might be a second one there.
So as you can see, this is where he previously decided he was just going to melt it, hoping that would just, I guess, bind the gap where the crack is. It obviously just made it worse because, as Nat highlighted to me a few seconds ago, it kind of just thinned out the plastic, and then when it was under pressure, the crack just, boom, popped back open again. So we're going to do it the proper way and add material and make a nice strong bond. Tool is heated up. You can see we have this little triangle spadey looking thing. So the first step is I'm going to melt a V in where the crack is, a very shallow V because this plastic is not very thick. And then I will take this plastic here and I will melt some of it in there. After which I will then take some stainless steel wire mesh I have here and I will put that in this, over this crack, and I will melt the mesh into the plastic and then apply more plastic over top of the mesh, and that will get a nice strong hold. Alright, so I have put the first application of the melted plastic in. I think I did a pretty good job. I've never really done it before. I've used like glue guns and stuff, but I guess it's kind of similar. But it went pretty good. I also patched up a few other spots that I don't know if they're cracks, but I was like, I'll put a little extra plastic. It can't hurt, right? I've got so much of it. So, so this is cooled a little bit now. It's just a touch warm, which is okay. I'm actually going to heat up again because I'm actually going to put this little wire mesh on it. So the idea here is this stainless steel wire mesh will provide some strength. So essentially I'm going to heat the mesh on top of the plastic. It just slightly embeds itself into it that way. And then I will add additional material over top. So let's get into it. Alright, so that's it. The mesh is in. I put loads of material on. I figured, I'm gonna put a little extra more than what's required, but it seems pretty good. It's in there, so we now have a stainless steel mesh reinforcement. I've had a quick look. I cannot do the inside. I would like to, but because the crack is not like, it's a crack as opposed to a big gouge or something like that, which is most of the videos I've seen learning how to do this. People are repairing like a gouge in a tank. So I think this should suffice. I mean, when the guy melted it before, like it did slow the original leak that we had there before. So, I mean, this has got to be 10 times better. Famous last words. But the good news is if I haven't done this right this time, I've got plenty more glue sticks and I can have another crack at it, but let's hope this holds. All right, we'll just let it cool and then that's it. Good to put it back in. So now what we'll do is we will just leave that overnight. Tomorrow we'll go to the fuel dock, fill up with water, and obviously keep a sharp eye on how our tank does. That's all we can do. All right, guys. All right, well, we have filled the water tank. We actually made water instead of going to the marina, which is great. And the tank is full. We've let it sit for about 24 hours and completely dry, no water leaking at all. The weld held absolutely perfect. I could not be happier. And we have dry pillages again. So there you go. Perfect.
James does a mast and rigging inspection before we set sail. In this instance, he needed to tighten the intermediate shrouds, but I think he enjoys the view too. Good morning, everybody. This is our last week before we head to the Bahamas. So we've got a lot of things to do, but we've been getting a ton of questions asking us about how we plan for provisioning when we're either doing a crossing or going away to the Bahamas, for example, for 2 to 3 months. Because tomorrow we're going to be doing a provision, I thought I'd take the opportunity to kind of go through what happens behind the scenes of the planning. First thing I do is I go through all of our food and I tally up everything we have. So if you have 20 cans of chickpeas, then you will write that down like I'm showing you right now, and go through everything you have on the boat so that you know exactly what's already on the boat. The second thing I do is I write down a meal plan. I normally do that for about 2 weeks, and what that will involve will be each day will be completely different meals. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, all completely different, and you'll do that over a 2-week period. And then you just, however long you're going, you will keep repeating over those 2 weeks, but you'll have a ton of different meals. The third thing I do is I write up a new list of all the things I need to make those recipes or make that meal plan. So I will go through and write down, I need 2 cans of cream, I need this, I need that, and I write down a new list, and that will be the list that I take with me when I'm going shopping and provisioning, and then I know exactly what I need to get to add to the provisions we already have on the boat. So most of the provisioning you're doing is dry goods, because obviously those will keep, and you're always better to go more of something, even if you aren't going to use it or don't need it, because you will at some point use it. So always go more than what you need. And dry goods are easy to store. You can store them in the bilge, wherever, and then you've got that. And those are the kind of things that are also very heavy when it comes to shopping out in the Bahamas and you don't have a car and that kind of stuff, and you don't want to be lugging that back to the boat. And then in terms of fresh goods, you can do your first overall provision before you leave, and then once you're in the country, then you will have to keep topping that up weekly or bi-weekly at least. The thing that has massively changed for us is, since having the freezer, we are now able to buy meat, fish, all that kind of stuff and throw it in the freezer. Before, we only used to be able to buy meat and fish for a week. So we'd plan our meals based on that, and then after that first week was done, we'd go vegetarian or just whatever fish we caught. So that's the whole planning in a nutshell. Hope that helps, and I'm going to continue writing down everything, going through everything, because tomorrow's going to be a huge day. Okay? All right. What are you up to, James?
I'm just finishing off the title and description for the video and adding it to Patreon.
What time are we picking up the car tomorrow?
Tomorrow we pick the car up at 12.
Okay.
And then we've got 24 hours of mayhem to get this boat
I know.
Stocked, filled with parts, errands, doggy tests, you name it, before we head to the Bahamas.
Alright guys, so we've done our big shop, and we are back. We totally forgot to film, of course, because it was just a little bit hectic with the dogs, the rental car, picking it up, putting these guys in, rushing to Aldi. James kind of staying in the car because it's so hot, so we had to leave the aircon on for the doggies, and then I went in and did most of the shop, and we are loaded here at the back, as you can see. And we've only got the smallest little rental car, but that's the grocery shop done, which is amazing. I'll show you how we load the dinghy right now. On the road again.
On the road. And we're off. We're going to a staging anchorage just before the Port Everglades exit, where we will chill tonight and leave at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for Bimini. Bahamas bound, baby. Whew.
Amazing. Alright, so it is 1:30 a.m. and we are leaving the US. We're about to pick up anchor now and head to Bimini, Bahamas.
Let's go.
So we've got coffee in hand. That was our last bridge in the US, and now we're going to go out through the channel at Fort Lauderdale and a straight shot to Bimini, Bahamas. So super sad to be leaving the US a little bit, like excited for the Bahamas, but then sad about leaving the US because it's been such a great stay. We've met some amazing people that have really touched our hearts, and I hope that we stay in contact forever. I really do. And made some friends, saw some amazing places, got to see a bunch of different states, which on our way up and on our way back down. And yeah, I'm really sad about leaving a little bit. And the protection of the ICW as well is very nice, and it's been great for the puppies to kind of grow up in that environment. But anyway, on to some more exciting adventures in different places, which we kind of need to get going now, especially because of our visas as well, but it's been amazing. After a very calm motor sail over to the island of Bimini, we are greeted with not only the turquoise waters, but a whole anchorage to ourselves.
We're going kind of slow, obviously, because we're fighting against the Gulf Stream a little bit.
All right, there he goes, off to Customs and Immigration, which is just on the other side of here. Look at that water, guys.
Pretty amazing.